Hey guys, Lady Lee here from Lady Lee's Home with a short tutorial on how to correctly freeze cauliflower so we can preserve both the taste and the color and the texture of it for many months in the freezer. Cauliflower is one of those wonder vegetables. I have to be honest and say that I did not yet master the art of growing cauliflower. It's a little tricky here in the South. There's so many pests for cauliflower and broccoli, cabbage, all the cabbage family. It's just a challenge. At least for me, it has been a challenge. So I mostly get my cauliflower at the store, and I try to get a few of them at a time and then process them and freeze them, because cauliflower is really super easy to work with when it's frozen. I prefer to freeze my own because I can cut the flowers to however size I want to cut them. I find that the frozen cauliflower that comes already frozen in the bag is just a whole bunch of really little pieces, and to be honest, the best, most delicious dish with cauliflower is fried cauliflower. And I know, cauliflower got really popular with all these vegan movement that, a lot of people became vegan in the past few years for some reason. And cauliflower can just be a base for so many dishes. Like, you can literally make a pizza crust from cauliflower and things like that. But really, if I'm honest, growing up in Israel, my mama's kitchen, there was always fried cauliflower, and we make it in Israel with tahini sauce, and you just dip the fried cauliflower in lemony, sometimes garlicky tahini sauce, and it's delicious. So I like to leave the cauliflower pieces kind of large, because then they fry much better than the tiny pieces. Anyways, we start by removing the flowers from the stem and then cutting them. Now, if the flowers are not too big, then sometimes I'll leave them whole, but if they are too big, then usually I cut them in half or quarter them. And then you want to blanch your cauliflower. Blanching is basically just cooking the vegetable in boiling water for 2-3 minutes, and that process ensures that we preserve the taste and the flavor and the texture of the vegetable for a longer period of time in the freezer. The boiling water kills the bacteria that will kind of ruin the vegetable in long-term freezer storage. So we basically just boil a big pot of water and then put the cauliflower in there, let it hang out in the boiling water for 2-3 minutes, and then use a spoon to scoop it out into an ice bath. So just a bowl filled with water and ice in it, and that stops the cooking, because we really want to keep the cauliflower fresh and not turn it into mush. So the ice water just stopped the cooking of the cauliflower and allows us to keep it firm and as fresh as possible. Then I put paper towel on a baking sheet, and underneath it, or I put a parchment paper on a baking sheet and then a paper towel on a baking sheet, and you scoop the cauliflower onto the paper towel and kind of move it around, pat it dry, just to kind of get rid of some of the water, and then remove the paper towel, leave the cauliflower on the parchment paper on the baking sheet and set it in one layer. I cover it with plastic food wrap and send it to the freezer for about 24 hours, and then I remove it from the freezer and put it into a Ziploc bag and then return it to the freezer. Basically, freezing it in one layer like that cause the flowers to freeze not touching each other, so they're all, you know, kind of loose, and it's not like one big bowl of frozen cauliflower. So if I want to just grab a few flowers at a time, it's possible this way. That's it. Just make sure to label your bag, and it goes back in the freezer.